Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse. This week, a news article came out and it detailed a major move that a legendary investor has made. He dumped major stocks that we're going to talk about, and he also made huge moves in gold. Let's break it down. So if you have ever seen the movie The Big Short, Michael Burry is the investor, the legendary investor that the movie is essentially built around. And he called, when many people were saying everything is fine, he called BS on the housing crisis long before it became a crisis.
I found something really interesting.
The whole housing market is propped up on these bad loans. They will fail.
The housing market is rock solid.
It's a time bomb.
So Mike Burry, who gets his hair cut at Supercuts and doesn't wear shoes, knows more than Alan Greenspan.
Dr. Mike Burry, yes, he does.
So when this type of individual who's very skilled, not only in mathematical analysis, but also who's skilled and made predictions quite correctly in markets before, when he comes out and makes a big move, I pay attention to it. And among the moves that his firm made, dumping Amazon and dumping Google were part of it, and then also largely increasing holdings of gold. Now, for those of us who have been into preparedness for a long time, you know that precious metals is a part of this. But I think there's a bigger take-home point here that we should be aware of. So Michael Burry is featured in the movie The Big Short. If you haven't watched that movie, it's a really, really good one to watch. But in that movie, essentially, he calls the housing crisis long before it becomes a crisis. He called it as a bubble, and he correctly predicted and made a lot of money in doing so. But he's also now making a similar move, I would say, predicting that similar bet against the United States dollar. So his firm moved to largely expand their holdings of gold recently. And not only that, they're dumping two big stocks that most working people have a lot of working familiarity with, and they are Amazon and Google. Now, why would they do this? We have to ask ourselves, what does he know that we don't know? Or maybe what does he know based on looking at lots of data that people like us know intuitively, but maybe not cognitively? First off, the United States is losing its position internationally, and our dollar is losing its position as the global reserve currency. So as someone who correctly predicted the last major bubble, which was the housing bubble, it makes sense to me that he's also predicting the next big bubble, which is the United States currency. He is correctly, in my opinion, predicting that the United States dollar is going to be losing its position internationally and using gold as a hedge for that. Now, I'm sure there are many people who have similar ideas. Why do you think that he would do this? I'm curious as to your opinion. Why do you think that someone with all the smarts and all of the access to the data would dump two major stocks, Amazon and Google, and then instead choose to position themselves larger in holding gold? What do you think? Leave me a comment below. Now, personally, I have an idea why it is that Amazon and Google are getting dumped from the portfolio. And that is, number one, Amazon has been increasing the amount of garbage it has been selling to people. And really, when you look at what happens when you sell people garbage, they're going to send it back. So more and more people have not been holding on to stuff. They've been sending it back. They've been returning it, and it's been sitting in warehouses. And all of this costs money. When you have a bunch of garbage for sale on your website and you're not doing quality control and all this stuff is coming from China, this cheap, depreciated garbage, then essentially, people are getting this, whether or not they realize they were getting that. They get it, they look at it, and they're like, I don't want this. I'm not paying for this. I'm sending it back. So then it has to sit in all of these warehouses and be managed for all of this loss. I'm curious, have you had a similar experience with Amazon where you thought you were getting one thing and you get it and it's absolute garbage? You're like, I'm not spending money for this. I'm sending it back. Let me know in the comments below. What was your most recent Amazon fail? Now, the other stock that he decided to dump was Alphabet, which is Google, essentially. Now, this was interesting to me because Google, for those of you who have been paying attention for a while, you know with Project Prism, Google has been an incestuous partner with the United States federal government as part of their surveillance for a very, very long time. A lot of their resources go to collecting data, but also where that data goes afterwards, it lands in the hands of the federal government in many cases to do a lot of spying domestically here in the United States. Historically, there have been some attempts to redress that grievance, but it's still a thing. So friends, this just kind of goes into more of what we've been talking about here on this channel for quite a long time. The beans, bullets, and band-aids. Part of general preparedness is being able to take care of your needs regardless of what's going on in the world around you. As our dollar becomes less and less valuable, other currencies are going to be ascendant, whether it's crypto, whether it's gold or precious metals. there's going to be a check naturally in this market. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Now, one of the things people have rightly noted is you can't eat gold. No, you cannot. You cannot eat gold. You cannot eat silver. You can't eat precious metals. But those precious metals do have the ability to hold value where other currencies potentially are failing. So part of the beans, bolts, and band-aids that we talk about here is to have the things strategically stored or have production capacity for yourself to be able to keep your standard of living the same regardless of what the surrounding circumstances are. In my opinion, that is the true definition of wealth. When you think about it, we have been taught to think of wealth as numbers in a bank account somewhere, but that isn't necessarily the case. Wealth is being able to perpetuate your desired standard of living regardless of what the surrounding circumstances are. Having the beans, your food production, and also food stored up covered, having self-defense covered, and having medical needs covered, that's a huge part of this. And we're seeing more and more that people are not being able to afford these things. The average cost of insurance is going up. Is it any wonder then that people are fleeing the dollar? Because as that dollar is losing its value day by day, seemingly, gold is rising and other investments are rising. It makes perfect sense to me. What do you think? Leave me a comment below. So part of what we do on this channel here, the Patriot Nurse channel, is equip people to be able to care for their family's medical needs. Whether you look at the free information on the back catalog, I've got over a decade worth of back catalog of how to store up medical kits, how to make purchases strategically to help your family, and also simple skills that can help you increase your ability to provide care at home. All of this is available for you on the back catalog here on YouTube. If you're looking to train in a more structured setting, I have 2 courses that I offer online, a 4-hour and a 7-hour course. The 4-hour course is the Foundations of Medical Prep. That's a great way to dip your toe in, and also the cost of the course will pay for itself if it saves you from one doctor trip that you didn't need to go to. The other course that I teach is the 7-hour course, which is an herbal preparedness course, and this equips you to be able to shield yourself from rising costs and also to help source things in your environment and know how to use these time-tested herbs to support and nourish your family's health, whether you have the grid or not, whether the dollar is worth something or not. So friends, everyone who is paying attention to the financials right now knows we're in trouble. The dollar is in trouble. Even Secretary of Treasury Janet Yellen was sounding the alarm, surprise, surprise, on the debt bubble that we're building. And this bubble that we're building is going to pop eventually. There will be a day of reckoning. And major investors who have their heads screwed on, they know it. They know it. Hope the video was helpful for y'all. I hope you have a blessed weekend. If you did enjoy the video, please subscribe to me here on YouTube, Patriot Nurse. You can also support me and stay with me on Patreon, Subscribe Star, Cryptocurrency, and PayPal. I have links below. Have a great weekend, guys. For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.